This lesson is about why water is so special in creating landforms. Before we start looking at the certain landforms and how they're created, we need to start looking at the major sources of water in the world. So what we're going to basically do is look at where the Atlantic Ocean is, the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, where the equator is, where the Tropic of Cancer is, the Tropic of Capricorn, and then the three rivers, the Nile, the Amazon, and the Murray-Darling. So let's have a look at the first slide. I want people to start thinking about. We've got three very different pictures from around the world, and they're all different landforms and also landscapes. And the one thing that they've got in common is that they've all been formed by water. Now remember, water can be in three different states. It can be a solid, which is ice. It can be liquid, which is running water. And it can also be a gas. Now those three different states lead to the erosion, weathering, and also the transportation, deposition of material, which leads to different landforms and landscapes being formed. So knowing where our sources of water are really important in helping us to understand how landforms are formed. So the first thing we're going to do is look at where the major oceans, lines of latitude are, and rivers are around the world. So here we've got a pretty detailed map of the world. We've got all the different continents there, and we've got all the different oceans. So let's go through what we need to learn. Now you need to be able to know this so that in a test or further work, you know where these major oceans are. So the first one we're going to look at is where the Atlantic Ocean is. Now the Atlantic Ocean, I know it says two places here and here. They're actually the same ocean, but this is where the Atlantic Ocean is in between North and South America, Europe and Africa. So if you see this on a world map, look for Africa, Europe, North America and South America. When I'm trying to find places, shapes are really important. So that's the first major sea, the Atlantic Ocean. The next major ocean is the Indian Ocean. I'm just circling it now. Why is it called the Indian Ocean? Because it's under the country of India. It's in between Australia and Africa, as well as Asia. Okay, the next one, and it's the biggest ocean in the world, is the Pacific Ocean. I'm labeling the three labels on our world map. It's the reason why there's three labels is because it's so big. It's basically in between the Pacific, Australia and Asia, and then North and South America. It's the world's biggest ocean. The next one, and it's a difference. It's a sea. It's the Mediterranean Sea, and it's found here. I'm just circling it now. It's the bit of sea in between Europe and Africa. Okay, so that's the Mediterranean Sea. The next two are in fact, they're not actually there, they're imaginary lines, and we use these lines for direction. What we've got is the equator. I'm just circling it now on your map. It's the middle section of the world, and I'm not drawing a straight line, but you can see the 0 degrees. When we look at lines of latitude and longitude, we measure it in degrees. When we look at latitude, we see how far north or south of the equator we are. It's the middle point of the Earth. It's the point on Earth which gets the most sunlight, therefore it's the middle. So that's the equator. Now we separate the Earth into two. The northern hemisphere, which is up here. I'm just writing an N there, and then we've got the southern hemisphere, which is here. We're in the southern hemisphere. We also split into west and eastern hemispheres, but I'll show you that in a minute. So it's the equator. The next line of latitude is the line of tropic is the Tropic of Cancer. Now that's roughly around here. I'm just writing it in, and I'm writing CAN. And that line runs just north of the equator, 23.5 degrees north. Then we've got the Tropic of Capricorn, which is roughly here. I'm just writing it in now, and I'm writing CAP, Capricorn. Now the reason why we're looking at the tropics is because that's where we have tropical climates. In tropical climates we have tropical storms, tropical cyclones, hurricanes, and they're really important in shaping the landforms and landscapes of our continent. So they are really important lines of latitude. The next three things I'm going to draw on this map are our rivers. Now, the first river that I'm going to locate, and I'm just drawing it on now, is the one that goes through Africa, and it's called the Nile. Now, the Nile is the world's longest river. Very long indeed, and very old as well. It was used by the ancient Egyptians. The next one is the Amazon. Now, the Amazon, I'm just drawing it basically here. It's in Brazil, and I'm just writing AMAZON for the Amazon. It's a little bit bigger than that. It stretches out like this across much of Brazil and even into most of North-South America. So that's the Amazon. It's the second longest river. And then finally, we've got the Murray-Darling. Now, it's a funny name. It's in Australia. I've just drawn it on there. I'm just going to put M. That's where the Murray-Darling is. The reason why it's got a funny name is because it's actually two rivers that join together at a place called Hillsborough in between New South Wales and Victoria. It's Australia's longest river. It's about the 10th longest river in the world. So what you need to do now, I'm going to give you a blank world map. What I'd like you to do is to label the world's ocean, major lines of latitude, and the rivers. Remember, why do we need to know these? Because it's the source of erosion, transportation, weathering, deposition, and transportation. Okay, thanks for listening, and good luck with the labelling. Okay, thanks.